Good evening. So we'll start with questions. You have any questions? Any burning questions? Not necessarily related to these texts, but any question will be important. There could be several questions like why Dharma practice is important, why it is important in today's world, why it is important in my personal life. So many questions you can ask. And it's important to ask questions. If you ask questions, you get answers. Otherwise, you just follow a tradition, Everybody is following, you also follow. When suddenly somebody says, why you are following? Oh, I'm not so sure, everybody is going, I'm going there. Doesn't make much sense. Really? Because that's not the Buddhist way. Unfortunately, we do it like that. But it's not the Buddhist way. The Buddhist way is ask questions until you are convinced of the importance of it. When the Buddha himself gave us the authority, power, not to follow it, if you find that it is not suitable and useful to you. Especially in today's world. Many people, they think that, oh, this is outdated, This is something like talking about metaphysics. What we need is physics, the physical material accumulation. People think like that. So it's important to ask questions. So ask some questions, please. Please be nice to me. Ask some questions. Yes?
I have one question.
Yeah.
But I want to read out my question in order to save time.
Yeah.
Although I have a strong willpower and good motivation
Yeah.
to do positive activities like circumambulating the temple, to do both placement and analytical meditation for a few minutes, try to develop good reading habits and so on. But my problem is I couldn't accomplish what to do or practice it constantly. Within few weeks, it is about to fade away what I had planned before,
Yes.
due to under the influence of destructive emotion like idleness and distraction.
Yeah.
I also know that it is not a piece of cake that everybody can plan and pursue it smoothly, because we were born with contaminated body in the cyclical system. So Geshe, is there any effective ways and means to solve this problem so that I can practice it round the clock in a constructive way? Thank you.
The Buddha himself said there is no push button enlightenment. Unfortunately, that is the bitter truth. There is no push button enlightenment. And if you look at the nature, even if you want to grow a tree, you cannot make it grow overnight. When you're young and innocent, then I also used to do like that. We plant something, then as soon as few 2-3 leaves come out, then we just plug it out and see what is happening underground. So that way it will not help its growth, but will destroy it. So what I'm saying is, number one, it is the natural process that things take time to develop, to evolve. So there's nothing like unique or different in your case or in my case. And especially in the case of internal development, we are dealing with something that we cannot directly see, as I said yesterday. Something that we cannot directly hear, cannot directly touch. We are talking about going into an unfamiliar terrain. So it's difficult. So therefore it is important to realize the fact that it's not easy. But not easy does not mean to say that you cannot do it or you cannot have it. Because again, Shantideva in his Bodhicharavattara, he says that there is nothing that will not become easy if you practice and get habituated with it. And he gives the example of, say, one of your sworn enemy, somebody who is the most dreaded enemy, your sworn enemy, and you used to tremble just by hearing his name. But with the change of time, situation, unfortunately or fortunately, that person happens to be your neighbor with the change of time. So in the first few days, you're really so scared. Oh my goodness, my enemy is there. You try to avoid that person. How many times you can avoid? So gradually it happens that you cross the path. Still you will not say good morning or anything. No, you will not even nod your head. But gradually, how long you will be able to do that? Gradually, you are compelled to nod your head. Sometimes you do this with mouth. In the West, I've seen. Sometimes say, good morning, how are you? Sometimes. So, so you say something like this, Then gradually you say good morning. Then gradually you start talking, how are you, you see. Then gradually you become such a close friend that now not only you will not dread that person, but you will feel very unhappy if that person is not there. You become so close. So with the passage of time, and the readiness of your mind, things become very easy. So therefore, one example that I would give you, perhaps it will be useful, is spiritual practice is food for the mind. Now, as far as the food for the body is concerned, how many times you eat? Is it enough to eat just one time, breakfast, and then no lunch, no dinner? Unless you are doing dieting. You see? I told this last time also. Many of the Buddhist practitioners who had received some kind of tantric initiation, then the Lama tells them to do the 6-session Guru Yoga. So people, at least for the first few days, do the 6-session Guru Yoga. Then gradually 5 sessions, then 4 sessions, then 3 sessions, then 2 sessions, then maybe no session at all. Because in the depth of their mind, they are probably asking the question, why do we have to do this 6 times, And people had asked this question to me, why Geshe-la we have to do this 6 times? So when they first asked this question, I did not have a particular answer. Then I reflected, why do we have to do it? I got the answer by thinking. Now when they asked this question to me, then I said, why do you have to eat so many times in a day? Just as for the body, you need to eat so many times. Breakfast definitely, lunch definitely, dinner definitely, and a lot of other things in between. So similarly for the mind also, you need repeated practice. You need to give the spiritual food repeatedly. This is important because as far as physical body is concerned, again, we are not very good in taking care of the body because we eat the wrong thing, we go to the wrong place, we don't sleep at the time of sleep. Now we are living in a very strange world. People are wide awake in the night and sleeping in the day. You see? So things are changing, unfortunately or fortunately. But what I'm really saying is, for the body at least we are taking some care. We talk about what kind of medicine one should be eating, what kind of nutritional foods you should be eating, then how many times you do your yoga and jogging and stretching and pulling and all those things you do. But for this poor mind, what do you do? Even these few practices you don't do. As a result, the mind is starving. The countless problems that we see today in the world is because starvation of the mind. Hindi में बोलते हैं ना, मन भूखा है. Mind is starving. So starving mind can do everything, It's hungry. So it's important to feed the mind with positive spiritual food. And it is by nourishing the mind that you are also able to nourish your body. Because your physical health is very much dependent upon your mental health. It's not just exercise and pulling and pushing, but it is basically dependent upon what kind of blood circulation is taking place, what kind of energy circulation is taking place. And these are all very much dependent upon the mental attitude. When the mind is calm and peaceful, and then the flow of the blood, the energy, everything becomes smooth. And when you are mentally excited, mentally angry, mentally agitated, immediately blood pressure increases. We all know this. And we are unable to sleep. We all know this. When we are angry, you may be sleeping on the bed, it may be night time, but still you are not able to sleep. You are changing your sides this way, that way, For 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, you are not able to sleep. Mind is such a strong thing, you see. So therefore, Shantideva in his Bodhicharyavatara says, in short, after giving a long sermon, he says, in short, if you do not know the secrecy of this mind, if you do not know the secret nature of this mind, Even if you aspire to have happiness, wish to shun suffering, you will end up wandering aimlessly. And that's what we are doing, because we don't know the secret of the mind. Okay? So therefore, just as we feed our body several times, so similarly, we need to do that spiritual practice repeatedly. And in fact, your being able to realize that you are not able to continuously do is a big thing. Many people don't even have that realization because they have never started. So it's important, especially for the beginner, and I'm glad that you asked this question. Now, for example, after attending this kind of talks, you should make it a point that at least right in the morning I'll sit at least for 5-6 minutes. After getting up, I'll sit 5-6 minutes, reflecting, meditating, sitting, or even if you don't know how to do much meditation, but at least you should learn to sit quiet and go within. It will give you so much calmness and peace. We don't get that calmness and peace because we are always, as I said, always distracted. We are always chasing something. When you let your mind chase the object, it's endless. The object is endless. So the chasing is endless. And it's like somebody running and somebody chasing. You know, when you chase somebody, you naturally get tired. So therefore, there are Buddhist practices which is called making the mind take rest. The mind needs to take rest. So at least you should learn to sit quiet. And I always tell people, one of the main modern problem is we don't know how to live with others and also don't know how to live alone. That's the problem of modern world. We should be able to do one of these things. Either we should know how to live with others nicely, or we should be able to live alone. And people are unable to do that. And people have asked this question to me, Geshe, do you live alone? Yes, I live alone. Don't you feel lonely? Because that's their yardstick. You know, they feel lonely. They don't know how to live alone, you see. So therefore, it's really important to see the importance of handling the mind, transforming the mind, to achieve their long-lasting peace and happiness. Because as I repeatedly said, at the end of the day, the real peace and happiness has to come from within. And that's exactly what the Buddha says. Self is the protector of the self. No one else can be the protector. Self is the enemy of the self. No one else can be the enemy. So we need to realize this. Okay? Any other questions? Yeah.
You talked a lot yesterday about the wisdom of cause and effect and learning to trust in that. What suggestions do you have for us to realize that in a modern world where we're sheltered from any aspect of cause and effect? We flip the light switch on, we don't know how things go on, we toss stuff in the trash and think it's disappeared. How do we get around sort of the broader cycles of cause and effect to actually understand?
No, whether you are living in a traditional world or modern world, cause effect, the reality in the form of cause effect, the reality in the form of emptiness, these are perennial philosophy, unchanging facets of the reality. So you can, if you have the wisdom or the awareness or the wish to see these things, they are evident everywhere. Like, for example, if you don't drink water, you will get thirsty. So if you don't accumulate that cause of drinking water, the result will be you will be thirsty. So things like that. And if you smile towards somebody, they will also smile. That's the result of your smiling. Your smile is the cause, and the result is you got a response, another person smiling. So things like that, small things. So in the beginning, when you talk about cause-effect relation, don't try to make everything very complicated. That's the problem. Sometimes people, when we talk about doing Dharma practice, they come with the notion that it has to be very difficult. Get rid of that notion. When people come to learn Tibetan language, first thing they come with is, oh, Tibetan language is so difficult. So in order to learn anything, first you need to get rid of this ghost, very difficult. Instead, you need to come with this delight that I'll definitely learn one sentence today. Learn one sentence, speak it repeatedly, it is yours. It's not difficult. So similarly with the Buddhist teaching also, not just listening to somebody and not doing any exercise, not doing any reflection. Just read slowly, at least few stanzas. Make sure that you understand the meaning. If you don't understand the meaning, ask the questions. You will understand it very easily. It's not so difficult. The difficult part is the practice, the implementation part is difficult, as you had asked, because we are habituated in something that is not familiar to us. We are not habituated with the good things. So that's the difficult part. But just getting some knowledge is not so difficult. So therefore, get rid of this ghost thinking that these are all difficult in the modern world. Yes, there are some obstructions. But in the modern world also, you are a human being, I'm a human being. You know, doesn't matter the market is flooded with shiny gadgets and so forth. That doesn't make you a different person. It doesn't make me a ghost or things like that. We are still a human being. Okay? So cause effect is functioning everywhere, on every level. And emptiness is the nature of everything. The ultimate nature of you is emptiness. Ultimate nature of me is emptiness. Ultimate nature of your iPad is emptiness. Aeroplane is emptiness. So as far as the ultimate reality is concerned, same. So it's not so difficult. The only difficulty is there's so much distraction. So much distraction. So there you need to know. And as I have been telling many times, that these days it has become a fashion for people to say that I'm very busy. It's a fashion. And to say everybody you need to have an appointment. Even if that person is not very busy, not very important, but still you need to have an appointment. In the name of respecting the other's privacy. Or whatever. You see? I am very busy. And as I repeatedly said, to be busy is not important. What is important is what are you busy about? You can be busy about many stupid things. That's not important. Sometimes people ask me, Geshe, do you have time? And I jokingly tell them, the only thing I have is time. So really. So it's important, especially if you want to engage in genuine Dharma practice, it is important to be a little bit selective. There are so many areas where you can waste your time. There are so many areas where you can easily get distracted and get yourself lost. So now is the time, as Shantideva right in the beginning of Bodhicharyavatara he says, the life is short. There are too many things to know. And we do not know the exact span of our life. Today may be the last day. It's possible. If there's a big earthquake, one gone. I'm not trying to scare you, but it can happen. More than 400 people died in Ecuador. More than 50, 60 people died in Japan. And another like 500 refugees. Their boat sank and they all died. These are the hot news right now, you see. So it can happen to them, it can happen to us also, you see. So therefore Shantideva says, life is short. There are too many things to know. And we do not know the span of our life. Therefore you should, just like the swans extract milk from water, you should take only those which is really important. And this very precious human mind is not a dustbin. It's not a garbage bin that you put everything inside it. We are treating our precious human mind as a garbage bin. And today particularly we live in an age called age of information. And much of the information is junk information. And we are all familiar with this thing called junk mail, you see. So why should you waste your time putting all this junk in your mind? So be a sensible human being. Use your discriminative awareness to really pick up those which is good for you in the long run, which is good for others in the long run. Okay, in between, little bit fun here and there is possible. There's no problem. We are all not perfect human beings, you know. But you should not be wasting your time all the time doing stupid things. Because if you do those things, then you are not going to achieve anything. There should be a little bit, there should be some kind of seriousness. Yesterday I explained to you that when, after achieving enlightenment, when the Buddha was asked to teach, he did not teach right away because he wanted his students to show some seriousness. If you have seen the importance of Dharma, if you are serious, then come, I will teach you. That is what he was saying. If you are not serious, then why should I waste my time? Why should you waste your time? You should really be, moving in fresh air. Outside is quite nice right now. You should be having nice cup of tea and chatting about the rest of the world, So there should be some seriousness. And in order to get a bigger, to achieve something big, you need to sacrifice a little bit. Otherwise you are not going to get anything. Okay? So therefore, in this modern world also, what is really important is, as I already mentioned, that don't run because everybody is running. As one of the good saying, there is one good saying which says, the time to rest is when you have no time to rest. When everybody is running, then there should be somebody who is able to stand up and ask question why everybody is running, Okay, we are thinking, living human beings. So therefore it is important that to ask this question by ourselves. Okay? Any other questions? Any other questions? Yes?
How do one remind oneself the impermanence? Because for instance, myself, in the night only I, try to reponder on what I've done the whole day. And it always ends up that I'm not really thinking about the impermanence, and it is not coming naturally. I have to really, think hard.
I think the one of the easiest and one of the most powerful way probably is not just listening to the teaching, but to use some of the experiences that you personally had. For example, in the case of each of us, I can assure you that in the case of each of us, we can count number of our friends who had died. Some younger than you, some senior than you, or your parents, your relatives. You can count now. He died, he died, he died, he died. And you might have also cried after the death of these people. So remember some of this. Since all these people had died, why do you think you are an exception? Last time I told you the story of this person who made friendship with a ghost. Many of you heard this. I tell you this again. It's an interesting story. So there was somebody, a human being, who made friendship with a ghost. And that ghost had some kind of clairvoyance. So that human friend, he said, my dear friend, I am a little bit scared of death, but I want to have fun in my life. So I want to have some fun in my life right now. So when the death is about to come, then because you have clairvoyance, you please tell me, then I'll practice. The ghost friend said, okay, no problem. Then after a while, the ghost friend came and he said, my dear friend, one family member died last night. And then this human friend, he said, oh, so sad, okay, oh, so sad. But he lived as he used to live before. And then time passed. Then again the ghost friend, he came and said, my dear friend, one member of the family died last night. He said, oh, is that so? So sorry. But he continued to live as he used to live before. Then after a while, the ghost friend came and said, my dear friend, it is your turn to go. Then this human friend said, how come you are telling me so late? I told you to tell me a little bit in advance. Then this ghost friend said, I have never seen a person so stupid like you. I told you 2 times. Somebody died down, somebody died up. You should be able to know that your turn may be coming very soon. And I remember His Holiness Dalai Lama and many great teachings, the teachers, they say, even if you see the death of a mosquito or a fly, which we see all the time, then you should be able to say that I'm also not different from this one. Especially in today's world, in the name of facility, we go by aeroplane, we go by train, you go by car, Things can happen anytime. This is reality. I'm not unnecessarily trying to create fear in you. Okay? And sometimes actually to have fear is very good. Okay? So therefore, so you need to think about this again and again. Again and again. Not to unnecessarily create fear in you, but so that you prepare. Like for example, I'm going to Mumbai after a few days. So I already booked my air ticket and everything. Because I don't want to have problem on the way. So similarly, if you are sure about this death and impermanence, then you will book your flight ticket. You will make necessary arrangement. What is it that is going to be beneficial to me when I die? Not your wealth, not your relatives, not your friends. So what is it that is going to help you? Calmness of mind, peaceful transition, that will help you. Good habit, that will help you. So that you have to do right now. You cannot do it right at the time of the death. You should get habituated with all these things right now. So that's why to do the practice right now is extremely, extremely important. Okay? And then also when you read newspaper, you see, there is almost one whole paper which says obituary. And look at that, Some are very elderly people, picture of very elderly people who died last month or last week. And then there are very young, small kids, pictures of small kids. So there is no seniority. Normally we think the senior ones die first and the junior ones, small kids, will die last. A little bit like that, but no definiteness. Some die in the womb. Some die when they are just able to crawl. So there's no definiteness. Okay? So prepare, buy your flight ticket. Prepare for that. Business, you should go in business class. Okay? Any other questions? Finishing the text is not that important. How should we practice Dharma? That's important. The very word Dharma, which is used in the very beginning, the word Dharma. Dharma means something that will help you, something that will catch you from falling down, falling into negative state of existence. That is called Dharma. The Sanskrit word Dharma means to catch hold of you from falling into a negative state of existence. So therefore, practice of love, practice of compassion, practice of wisdom, this will help you not to fall into lower state of existence, negative state of existence. Dharma. Okay? So Dharma means really transforming your mind. The Tibetan word for Dharma is Chö, which means to change, to transform your mind from the negative to the positive. If you do that, if you're reducing your anger, if you're reducing your attachment, if you're reducing your jealousy, then you're really doing Dharma practice. If you're not doing that, you may call yourself as a Buddhist, old Buddhist. You may be visiting temple repeatedly, you may be circumambulating repeatedly, but you are not doing Dharma practice in the true sense of the term. So Dharma practice is not a show business. Dharma practice is something that has to happen internally within oneself by removing and reducing the negative emotions. Because these negative emotions are the source of your long-lasting suffering and unhappiness. By cultivating the positive emotions, which is the source of long-lasting peace and happiness. So with this realization, if you engage in practice, then you are doing Dharma practice. Again here, most of us want to do the show business, you see. We go to temple because everybody is going there. We circumambulate a little bit because everybody is going there, and it is fun just to go there for a walk. Not thinking about changing the die-hard habit. So that is why we remain as we are. You see? So it's important to involve one's mind when it comes to doing Dharma practice. Okay? Any other questions? No question? And then the next verse, verse number 8. Refraining from killing. Dina pyoke na le misue ba dang kupong dang se jdoa. De lo ma hena misue ba dang se lab gin yenga doa. Misue se go marda. Misue ba sena ma se ba che ba se gore. Henda misue ba. De lo ma hena misue ba dang se doa. Ti lab na digo marwa. Misue ba pangaye der ba tan digol mise hi go marwa. Henda misue ba. So refraining from killing, avoiding stealing, relinquishing other spouse, forsaking lies, divisive speech, harsh words, and senseless talk, abandoning covetousness and malice, and fully discarding false views are the 10 virtuous paths of action, and their opposites are the 10 non-virtuous actions. Gevachu Dhammi Gevachu say 10 virtuous actions, 10 non-virtuous actions. So which is basically saying that you should physically refrain from these three things: killing, avoiding stealing, and relinquishing other spouse. That means adultery. Physically refrain from these things, because in our day-to-day life also, like killing, why should you kill other people? Just as you don't like other people kill you or even harm you, you should not kill other people, because life is dear to everybody. Life is important for everybody. So refrain from killing. It's not so difficult to understand it. If you kill, even the law of the land will not let you live in peace. They will imprison you, you see. So it's not something peculiar to Buddhist practice. Then avoiding stealing means taking those things which is not given to you is called stealing. Taking things which is not given to you is called stealing. So which means robbing. Taking things by force also is called stealing. If you become a robber and with a gun take things forcibly from others, that's also called stealing. Or if you just become a simple burglar, come in the night along, break the door, it happens here repeatedly. So that is called stealing. Or if you ask somebody, oh, your pen is very nice, can I borrow it? And then after that, you think that, okay, this pen is very nice, I must give it. And maybe she has forgotten about it, I'll give it. So intentionally, if you don't return things, that is being, if you forget, it's a different thing. But intentionally, you wish to keep it and don't return it, that is also stealing. That's also stealing. Whatever is not yours, whatever belongs to others, whether it belongs to some individual or it belongs to some organization, if it doesn't belong to you, you have no right to take it. If you want, you need to take the permission from other people. Okay? So therefore, even if you found something that somebody has lost, so in the Buddhist teaching it says that even if you found something that somebody has lost, if you keep it with yourself, that could even end up as a kind of stealing, because that other person is still, not abandoned it. He might hoping that he will get it back. Okay? So don't steal. Because in this life, if you engage in practices like killing, the result will be short life in the next life. Fruit similar to the causes. If you shorten other people's life, your life will be short. Probably in this life, probably in the next life. It's very, very interesting law of causality that is explained here, you see. Like one clear, understandable example is like if you stab somebody, that other person might get angry and step back. It shortens your life. Things like that. So if you shorten other people's life, it will shorten, you will also have to experience living a short life. If you steal other people's things without being given to you, then in this life or maybe in the future life, there are people who always have to live very poor. So it is said that in many cases this may be due to because you have stolen things from others, taken things from others that is not given to you. So stealing. By stealing you will never be, and another interesting thing is by stealing you will never become rich. You see, stealing. So refrain, abandoning killing, abandoning stealing, and abandoning other spouse. That means not to engage in adultery. Wars have been fought in the past for wife or for husband, because of adultery, sexual misconduct. There have been wars that have been fought for that purposes. And even in today's society, much of the fighting and disharmony is over relationship. So it is again very, very important to have the right kind of relationship and not to engage in sexual misconduct or adultery. Then forsaking lies, forsaking devised speech, forsaking harsh words. Forsaking lies, that means if you know something, somebody asks you, if you say, I don't know, there is a lie. Even though you don't know something, but you pretend that you know it and say it something, that is also lie. Or even if you don't say anything, have you seen somebody going this side? That is also lying. Or with your fingers you can lie, So it's basically cheating others. If you in this life you cheat others, in the future life you will be cheated. Not necessarily future life, in this very life. If you cheat others, like there are a group of cheaters in big cities, the group of liars, they all cheat each other. Now in the shop, the shopkeepers, many of them, they do not hesitate in telling lies. When it comes to selling things, they do not hesitate. Like for us, if I have to tell a lie, immediately I blush, I feel uncomfortable, how can I say this, maybe he has noticed that I'm telling lie. I feel very uncomfortable. But for these people, they're experts, They say it in such a natural way. They'll say, oh Guruji, मैंने तो इसको 100 रुपये दिया, आपको उसी में दे रहा हूँ. That I bought this for 100 rupees and I'm just giving it to you for 100 rupees. I'm not charging anything extra. How can you believe this? How can you? They say things like that, you see. They say things like that. So that when you get used to these things, then it becomes kind of addiction and habit, which is very, very dangerous. Lying. Divisive speech. Divisive speech is also something that we use regularly because you act as a go between two people, and then to your friend you will say, oh, you don't go with this person is not so nice, And then you go there and say all kind of things, this person not nice, that person not nice, So you are creating division. Many people do this, politicians do this all the time. Just watch television here in India. Also now the American election is going on. What Donald Trump is saying, or all those other politicians, what they are saying, There's so many, they lie, they engage in divisive talk, you see. So which is not good, because what the most important teaching that is taught by Buddha is to create harmony, not to divide people, especially dividing good people, dividing sanghas is a heinous crime, very dangerous crime. Therefore, instead of dividing people, we should learn to create more harmony, more love towards each other. You can go between two people to bring harmony, not division. Harsh words. When it comes to yourself, you want everybody to say nice things. How nice you look, how cool is your cloth, So many things, you feel so happy when people praises you, So similarly, if you praise others, say nice things to others, they will also be happy. The same master Nagarjuna, in his letter to the friend, he says that when it comes to your speech, if possible, it should be like a honey, very sweet. If not possible, at least like a flower. And it should not be like a dirt, should not be like a filth. There are some people who are very good in using harsh words all the time. Can't you see? Are you blind? Things like that, you see. So if that person is not blind, he will get hurt because he is not blind and he is saying you are blind. If he is already blind, it's doubly negative, Somebody who is blind and you are, reminding him of his or her shortcoming, you see. And that person will feel very, very sad. There is a Tibetan saying which says, that means speech. The word that you use also, although is not sharp like a blade, but it can chop other people's heart into pieces. People's mind are very sensitive. If you are a good Dharma practitioner, okay, then doesn't matter whatever you say. You call me Buddha, I will not become Buddha. You call me a dog, I will not become a dog. That kind of attitude they can maintain. But for many others, they are very sensitive. They are very fragile. They easily get hurt, you see. So it's not your job to make other people unhappy and sad. Your job is to make them happy. So don't use harsh word. Okay? There's an English saying which says, a tongue that is 6-7 inches long can fail a person 6-7 feet by using harsh speech, you see. That's not good, harsh speech. And senseless talk. Senseless talk. Sometimes we use the word gossiping or idle chatter. And it's a great pastime. You talk about the rest of the world. Oh, she went there, she came back. And when I go to Tibetan settlement, because they don't have a lot of things to do there, especially elder people, they keep on gossiping the whole day, Oh, Sering has come, Sering went to business, he went there for 3 months, now he has come back, I think he got married, all kind of things, endless gossiping. So it's important not to waste your time by engaging in too many senseless talks. And sometimes if you gossip a lot, unknowingly it might be hurting many other people also. So it's important to watch your mouth a little bit. And I jokingly, or maybe true, I told people that why you have 2 eyes, 2 ears and 1 mouth. That means see a little bit more, hear a little bit more, speak a little bit less. Speak a little bit less, okay? Probably. So, senseless talk. If you want to talk about bodhicitta. If you want to talk about wisdom, understanding, emptiness. If you want to talk about Dharma. If you want to talk about His Holiness Dalai Lama. If you want to talk about Buddha. And about Buddha we don't know the history. About His Holiness Dalai Lama also we don't know much history. You see? So talk about, there's so many good things that we can talk about. So many good things. And even among ordinary people, there are so many great people who are tirelessly working in the battlefield, in serving the lepers, in serving those people. I think there are many of them are like bodhisattvas, really. We are just talking here. There are many people who are just out in the field, wherever they are needed, and working, you see. So talk about those people, what they are doing. At least mentally support them. So these are 4 verbal negative non-virtuous deeds should be given up, should be abandoned. And the next 3 is the 3 mental negative deeds, they must be abandoned, which is abandoning covetousness. That means aspiring to have what your neighbor has. Oh, my neighbor has bought a new car. I wish I have one like this. Oh, my neighbor has bought a new coat or sari or something, I should have one like this. I really like your coat. I really like your jacket. Where did you buy it? I want to have it. We always keep up saying things like that. So, coveting to have what others have. Simply by coveting, you will not get it. It will only torture your mind. Okay? Simply by wishing that you should have that, it will not come to you. So your greed, your covetousness will only mentally torture you. So it's important not to develop this kind of covetousness. Okay? You don't need what everybody has. You don't have to have what everybody has. Okay? As I said already, you should use your sense of judgment. What is good for you? What is useful for you? What is your income? What is your need? So accordingly, live a simple life, contented life, and your life can be wonderful. But if you try to live like rich people when your income is meager, it's creating unnecessary problem, you see. You have no money, but you want to act like a rich man, carrying a purse here which has no dollar inside. People do things like that, you see. So don't waste your time by pretending what you're not. And how do you pronounce this? Malice or malice? Malice. I don't know these English words, funny English words, malice, whatever. So that means harmful intention, wish to harm others. Wish to harm others will only harm you, not the others. Wishing to harm others. For example, because you like Tibetan Buddhism, you like Tibetan, most of you who are here, you like Tibetan Buddhism, you like Tibetan. And Tibetans are fighting against the wrongdoing of the Chinese leaders. So now today, for example, if I tell you, since you are here, we should all develop hatred, anger against the Chinese leaders. Let us all get angry, let us all bang the table. We can do that here. Develop that negative, harmful intention. What will be the result? We'll all get very excited, really. I give you a very fairy speech, how bad the Chinese leaders are, and then you also say, yeah. Then you also join me, get very angry. What good will it do? The Chinese leaders may be watching a nice movie, sipping a nice cup of coffee, and we are just suffering here. That's what His Holiness is saying. That is what the Buddha is saying. That even if you want to challenge the wrongdoings of other people, it should be challenged with wisdom, with compassion, with fortitude, with willpower, not with negative, destructive emotions. Because destructive emotions at the end of the day will destroy you, will make you blind. If you look at the history of the Buddha, when he was meditating on love and compassion, when he was about to get enlightened, the negative forces, they were getting very jealous. They were getting very uncomfortable, thinking, oh, now he is winning and we are losing, you see. So they appeared in different forms and tried to disrupt his meditation. The evil forces on one occasion manifested themselves as very beautiful damsels dancing around, flirting around him. He was in his meditation on love. His mind did not get distracted. When this did not work, then they manifested themselves in the form of horrible, fair-looking, demons and ghosts with fires shooting from the eye and things like that, then holding spears and knives. So under all these different situations, his meditation on love was unflinching. And it is through this way, through this practice of love and compassion, that he conquered the forces, negative forces. That is the story. There is a beautiful prayer where it says that the evil forces, may the evil forces be destroyed by loving kindness. May the sentient beings be nourished and sustained by loving kindness. And may we obtain the auspiciousness of loving kindness of the Maitreya Buddha. Maitreya means loving Buddha. So it's important not to see these positive practices like love, compassion and non-violence as sign of weakness. It's really important because many people think that, compassion may be very important, but in today's world it will not work. In today's world you need force. People think like this. So that shows that people are thinking that compassion means weakness. Compassion means just sitting there, being very nice, let people sit on your head, People think like that. That's misunderstanding of compassion and non-violence. The greatest force is needed for practicing non-violence and compassion. Because if you resort to violence, you take arms. You don't really have to have any bravery there. The gun will speak, the sword will speak, the machine guns will speak, nuclear bombs will speak. You don't have to do anything. Particularly in this day, you sit in a comfortable air-conditioned room, push the button and killing people there. So where is your bravery? Nothing. You don't need bravery there. But somebody like Buddha, without resorting to any of these destructive tactics, without using any of these weapons, being able to face the destructive enemies and opponents without any arm, except the arm of love and compassion, there you need a lot of strength, lot of courage. So therefore, practice of love, practice of compassion, practice of non-violence is really sign of strength, not sign of weakness. It is sign of a truly human being, not sign of being a beast. Human beings are supposed to be more civilized. And we read a lot of books saying that, civilization, flourish in this way, that way. The Greek civilization, the Indian civilization, we talk about so many civilizations. So we are supposed to be civilized people. We are supposed to possess this great human intelligence by which we are able to judge between what is right and what is wrong. Despite this very sophisticated human intelligence, if you act like animals, then we are not human beings. Animals, they don't have this thinking power. So therefore the first thing they do is just jump upon each other. The tigers do like that, lions do like that. But if human beings act like lion and tiger, then it's very dangerous. More dangerous than the tigers and lions. Tigers and lions, when they're angry, when they're hungry, they jump upon each other, maybe kill few, and then they rest. There is no ongoing strategy how to completely, do away with the tiger or lion, the other opponent forces. In the case of human beings, it's not physical power. We take the help of the power of weapons, destructive weapons. Then we calculate, then we plan. Now we have biological warfare, chemical warfare. Have you heard about all these things? Smart bomb. What is smart bomb? Sometimes you need to read about those things. It's unthinkable. There are people who are planning how to kill people in so many different forms. Smart bomb, you throw something which looks like a toy, which looks like an apple, innocent kids will pick it up, it will burst and kill them, Then there are bombs which will only kill human beings, not the building. Biological warfare, maybe not so much now, but in some time before, biological warfare, you throw all the, locusts, other, viruses or whatever into the enemy field so that it destroys their farm and everything. Biological warfare. Chemical warfare still, it's happening in Syria and many other places. And Shantideva says, you don't have to kill people, they will die. I mean, how clever, how intelligent, you see. And stupid as we are, we need to kill people, you see. Tibetans did not kill Mao Zedong, he died. Similarly, all the notorious leaders, they will go. We don't have to kill them, you see. So the Buddhist teaching says you don't have to kill people, you have to kill their wrongdoing. You have to act against their wrongdoing. You have to act against their negative emotion. But not trying to eliminate the person itself. So I'm not saying these are easy, but you can, if you read and reflect, you can see how true these teachings are. So abandoning covetousness and harmful intention, and fully discarding false views. False views means wrong views. Wrong views. Now this is Lokpartawe Sawache. There is a line which says Lokpartawe Sawache, which means it is the wrong view which will destroy the very foundation of all your virtuous practices. This is very dangerous. Out of the 10 non-virtuous practice, wrong view is very dangerous. Now many of the wars that is being fought today in the name of religion is based on wrong view. The discrimination that is made between men and women, the discrimination that is made between different nationalities, all based on wrong view, short-sightedness, lack of understanding, miscommunication, and unnecessarily you are practicing segregation, black and white, yellow and red or whatever, you see. Stupid, completely stupid. So therefore to say, oh, there is no cause-effect relationship, oh, there is no future life, many people will say things like that. So that's wrong view. Because if you don't know something, be honest. Like some of the scientists, they are quite honest. Be honest. If you don't know something, then you should have the courage to say, I don't know. If you don't know about future life, then you should say, I don't know. You should not say that there is no future life. How do you know there is no future life? Because of the fact that you are not able to see something doesn't mean it is not there. There are so many things you have not seen. Even many of the physical realities, they are not within your purview. So don't make such hasty conclusions. The scientists, they make a distinction between not knowing the existence of something and knowing the non-existence of something. So there are many things that you don't know, so don't make hasty conclusion. It is important to ask more questions rather than making hasty conclusion. Okay. Wrong views. If you do good, there will be no good result. Wrong views can come up. In the past also, in today also, they say, oh, what is use of doing Dharma practice? I've been doing Dharma practice for many years, but see, I'm experiencing all these tragedies. And whereas there are people like the non-believers, many non-believers. In the case of Tibetan, you might end up saying that, oh, many of these communist Chinese leaders, they're doing all these horrendous negative activities, but they are flourishing, you see. So what is use of Dharma practice? People can ask these questions. So you need to have a complete picture of the reality. Don't make quick judgment. Okay? And fully discarding false views are the 10 virtuous paths of action, and their opposites. So that means killing, stealing. These are the 10 non-virtuous practices. So at least now there is no dearth of practice. There is no shortage of practice. If you start practicing, just this is enough. Lot to practice, at least for some time. And then in addition to these 10 virtuous practices, you should also stop many other wrongdoings. And that is explained in the next 1.5 line, which says, avoiding liquor, seeking proper livelihood, and not inflicting harm. Avoiding liquor, that means not to take intoxicant drinks. The Buddhist teachings say that there is no need for you to take intoxicant drinks because you are already intoxicated. You're already intoxicated by the negative emotions. You are already under hallucination, so you don't need to use many more substances that will make you get more hallucinated. Okay? So therefore there are teachings in Buddhism which says that those who accept Buddha as their teacher, they should not drink any intoxicant drink, even to the amount that a tip of grass can hold, not even one drop. Because so it's important to be careful about this right in the beginning. Because if you take one sip, the next time maybe 2 sips, then 3 sips, then more and more, then you get intoxicated. You spend, not only you waste so much money, and even these days you can go around, there are some people in the day, in the broad daylight, I've seen some of them going like this. Just the other day I saw one. I was wondering what he was doing, going this way, then that way. So what is the use? There's a Tibetan saying that when you get intoxicated, then you are unable to distinguish between your mother and the bride. You see? There is a story, very interesting story of a monk, a celibate monk, who was going somewhere. This is a story, interesting story. So he met a woman who carried a jar of wine in one of her hand, and then on the other hand she was taking a goat. And then she forced the monk that you are a monk, so you need to help me do one of these things, one of these 3 things. Either you take this intoxicant drink, or you have sex with me, or you should kill this goat. The monk, I am a monk, I can't kill goat. I am a monk, I can't have sex. So maybe drinking, okay. Then he took that, he got intoxicated, he ended up doing the other 2. You see? I mean, this is a story, but very clever story, you see. Because when you get intoxicated, just like when we are intoxicated with negative emotions, we end up doing many stupid things, bringing a lot of suffering. So similarly, if you get intoxicated with this kind of intoxicant drinks, not just drinks, but now they have so many others, LSD, then what, hashish, then what, so many things. Marijuana, what is it? How do you, so many things are there, you see. So you should be careful. It's not good for your health, not good for your wealth. And proper livelihood. That means your livelihood should be something that is not earned through hypocrisy. 5 wrong livelihood, 5 wrong ways of livelihood. That means one is flattery. In order to get something from others, if you flatter, no, these days you really look so well, you know, and you start saying many nice things, then at the end you try to get something from that person. Getting something, earning your livelihood through flattering others. That's wrong livelihood. And then another is side begging. That means saying that last year somebody gave me something, you know. Somebody gave me this bag, you know. You can see this bag so nice, you know. So now this bag is quite old, you know. It's not so nice. iPad or bag, whatever. Knowing fully well that this person has this one. So that's side begging, you know, saying that somebody gave me this, it's so nice, you should also give me one. You're implying that, you see. So that's also wrong livelihood. Then another way is like you give something small to that person to get a bigger one. That's what many people do when they see their benefactor or sponsor, you know. You give them 1 thermos of tea. Or maybe something. I'm not in a bad taste. I'm not saying in a bad taste. That person may be doing out of genuine sincerity, but In some cases, it is possible that you are doing this simply to get something from that person. You give a small thing, something small, very small. You buy something that costs 100 rupees in order to get 20,000 rupees or something like that. So that is called finding material goods by giving material goods. Then another is hypocrisy. Like for example, now I got this platform of explaining the Ratnavali, I can be a little bit hypocritic. I can say that, I'm not teaching this for the first time. I have been taught this many, many times, and I also developed some realization, So if you make some offering to me, you are going to get a lot of merit, Something like that. You directly or with implication, I can pretend, there are many people who believe in that, you see. Through this way I get something. That's called wrong livelihood through hypocrisy. So, to give up those improper livelihood and live a proper life with proper livelihood. Not inflicting harm. Not inflicting harm. This I think will be already more or less explained. I don't know why this is coming here, because when we were explaining the 10 virtuous practices, one of the practices is not harming. So that's why when you read texts like this, you should always be cautioning. You see, so why he is explaining this again? It doesn't say here, it doesn't explain, I think maybe, okay. So in other words, this in the commentary it says, in the case of intoxicant drink, it says that do not take any intoxicant drink that will lose your physical freedom and mental freedom. When you are intoxicated, then you have no sense of judgment. And then in the case of layperson, living proper livelihood means, for example, if you are doing business, then the scale, the measurement, you should not cheat when you use those scales, those measurements. Sometimes when they do this, like sometimes when they use a particular scale, in India we call it taraju, then they put a magnet here, you see, a heavy magnet here, you see, which you are unable to see, but it is there, the weight is already there, so that way people cheat, you see. And then in the case of the monks, as I explained, avoid the 5 kinds of wrong livelihood. And then not inflicting harm. So inflicting harm here means physically and verbally doing something that will harm others. So don't engage in those kind of physical and verbal harming. So that's different. Earlier in the 10 virtues practice, non-harmful intention, it's primarily explained in terms of your intention. Now here it is explaining primarily in terms of your physical and verbal harming others. So avoid physically, verbally harming others. So it becomes clear. For example, if you heat a stick or stone others, these are physically harming others. Okay? Simsarva? Over. Thank you. Good night.